During an afternoon in March of 2020, I was struck by a random stroke of inspiration, and for the last 5 years, I've been working on and off on creating an immersive and rich high fantasy world for my dozens of stories to take place in. I'm Em, but I also go by Veria online, so whatever works for you is fine. I want to introduce you to a world that I have been working on for a very long time that is very precious to me and kind of my project that I always come back to. Whenever I wasn't working on another project and had the time and motivation to work on this world, I would find myself spending hours creating different cultures, inventing maps, coming up with a belief system, or wrote down the plot for yet another story in this world. In fact, it would actually take me more than 2.5 years from the very first idea that I had until I wrote the first sentence of the first chapter in the first book. Sure, in those 2.5 years, I also wrote 2 other books and therefore didn't spend all day every day in this world, but I would always find my way back to the world, and if I had to guess, it would be around 80% of the time that I worked on this, in which I wrote hundreds and thousands of words about world history and money systems. I created calendars and researched how planets would work so I could see if my planet could have 9 moons or 13 suns. Spoiler, there's only 1 moon, but there's also 2 suns, which is fun because why not? But before I talk too much nonsense and go off the track, I want to welcome you to the world of Geiora, the 4th planet in a system orbiting 2 suns and one of the 2 worlds in the system that is habitable. But more on that another time. Geiora is the world of so many stories. I don't know if I will ever have the time and the means to tell them all. There seem to always come more and more ideas from somewhere. But if there is a place to tell them, it will be in Geiora, a place so vast with many continents, countless of countries and nations, and thousands more cultures that live in a world that finds inspiration from all the works that came before me and awoken ideas. As odd as it sounds, my world is best described as a mixture of A Song of Ice and Fire, Avatar: The Last Airbender, with elements of How to Train Your Dragon, but there's also familiar things you can find in the Legend of Zelda franchise. As I'm saying this out loud, this sounds like a 5-year-old made up the worst fanfiction possible, and maybe that's a sign for me to change some things. Wow, give me an award because that is exactly what this video is meant to be about. Wow. Applause. I want to introduce you to my world that I have worked so much on, and I want to share my lore with you and have someone to talk about my world with. But truthfully, I've worked on so many other projects since working on the first and second draft of my book back in 2022. I am not the same person I was in 2020 or 2 years later when I wrote the first attempt of this specific story. I've gotten more ideas since I worked on the last draft. I have written 5 books in the last years, so my writing skill has hopefully improved. I've learned more about writing, read a ton more books. They made me rethink some ideas and concepts I had. For some, I got better ideas. Some I improved upon, and others have completely changed. Around New Year's, I finally opened up the project of this world again, and I have once again fallen in love with this world. I've got the idea to change a lot of my world building. Since I just mentioned, I'm not the same person anymore. There's things I like more now that I didn't like back in the day, and there's things I liked 5 years ago that don't really work for me anymore. I've got the idea to change a lot of my world building, reinvent the world and make it better and just more fun. I mean, this is my world, so I can do whatever I want. But honestly, the idea of reading and possibly changing about 250,000 words of world building and lore sounds extremely daunting. So I've gotten the brilliant idea to document my process and share it online so I can speak to other people about my world. The reason is definitely not because the DMs I send my friends are thousands of words long of me throwing ideas and concepts at them, because I want to know what they think about them so I can get immediate feedback. But that means I send them approximately 19 to 57 long messages with very detailed lore and complicated questions, only to end my monologue with saying, actually, never mind. And I don't know about you, but something tells me that is very annoying. So instead of boring my friends to death, why not make videos about my world and upload them so people can actually choose to listen to my nonsense yapping instead of me forcing it on them? Speaking of nonsense yapping, I should probably wrap this up. If you want to, you can join me on my journey of rebuilding and reinventing the world of Geiora to make my dream fantasy world come to life. So if I didn't convince you, there will be dragons and spirits. Those are cool, yeah. And what else? Ooh, floating islands. There's an elemental magic system and betrayal, I guess. I mean, to be honest, if you're still watching, then either you were very bored, fell asleep, or are among the few people who are actually interested in this. So consider subscribing. It really helps me out, I believe. I don't know this YouTube game. Anyway, bye. I will see you next time.